is a structural and functional unit of all living organisms. ஸோ எல்லா லிவிங் ஆர்கனிசம்ஸுமே செல்லால் தான் வந்து மேடப் ஆகிருக்கும். ஸோ செல் அப்படிங்கும்போது இதை யார் ஃபஸ்ட்டு டிஸ்கவர் பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ராபர்ட் ஹூக் இன் 1665. கார்குடோட ஸ்லைஸை வந்து அவர் மைக்ரோஸ்கோப் வச்சு பார்க்கும்போது அது வந்து ஸ்மால் கம்பார்ட்மெண்ட்டாக தெரிஞ்சிருக்கு. ஸோ அந்த ஸ்மால் கம்பார்ட்மெண்ட்டுக்கு செல் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி நேம் வச்சுருக்காங்க. நெக்ஸ்ட், வாட் ஆர் த ஃபங்க்ஷன் ஆஃப் தி செல்ஸ்? ஃபங்க்ஷன் ஆஃப் தி செல்ஸ் அப்படிங்கும்போது இன் மசில் செல்ஸ் இஸ் ஃபார் மூமெண்ட் and nerve cells for conductivity. Beta and alpha cells are pancreatic cells for the synthesis of enzymes. Mucus gland for secretion of mucus. Adrenal cells for the secretion of steroids. And in kidney for iron transport. And in intestine for metabolic absorption. What are the structure of the cell? The cell, which is formed by a cell body and a cell membrane. The important parts of the cell are cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. In cell membrane, there are three substances are composed: lipids, proteins and carbohydrates. Lipids, which is bilayer, and phospholipids and cholesterols are the molecules formed in the cell membrane. Phospholipids is a combination of phosphorus and fatty acid. Cholesterol, which is arranged between the phospholipids molecules. The lipids layer, which allows only the fat soluble substances like oxygen, carbon dioxide to the cell. Proteins are the dense layer which is situated on either side of the central lipid layers. There are two types of proteins: integral and peripheral. Integral, which is tightly bound with the cell membrane. Peripheral, which are loosely bound with the cell membranes. An integral protein provide a structural integrity. Channel proteins provide a diffusion of water soluble substances. Carrier protein helps in transport. Enzymes which is helpful for chemical reactions. And in carbohydrates is a thin loose covering over the entire surface of the cell membrane, which is known as glycocalyxes. Carbohydrates and protein combination form glycoprotein, and the lipids attached with the carbohydrates form glycolipids. Next, nucleus, which is the brain of the cell, which control all the activities of the cell. And in nucleus there are various parts: nucleolus, nuclear envelope, chromatin material. Nuclear envelope, there are two membranes: outer membrane and inner membrane. Outer membranes binds with lots of ribosomes. Inner membrane, which controls the cell divisions. And in nucleolus, the RNA will be synthesized. In nucleus, DNA in the nucleus form mRNA and tRNA when its transcription takes place. And from mRNA, they bind with the ribosomes and synthesize the protein, which is known as translation. Cytoplasm. Cyto means cell, plasma means fluid. A gel-like mixture surrounding the cell membrane is known as cytoplasm. The various organelles are endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, Golgi body, mitochondria, lysosomes. Endoplasmic reticulum, which is made up of tubules and microsomal vesicles. In skeletal and cardiac muscle, we call it as sacroblasmic reticulum. In endoplasmic reticulum, there are two types: rough and smooth. Rough endoplasmic reticulum is attached with the ribosomes. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum, there is no ribosomes. It is formed by interconnected tubules. In rough endoplasmic reticulum, is responsible for synthesis of proteins. In smooth endoplasmic reticulum, is responsible for synthesis of lipids and storage of calcium, and detoxification will be takes place. Then Golgi apparatus. Golgi apparatus is known as Golgi body or Golgi complex, which is involved in processing the proteins which is formed in ribosomes. There are two phases, cis and trans. From endoplasmic reticulum, the vesicles will be entry into Golgi apparatus through cis phase and proceeds the substance exit from Golgi apparatus through trans phase. The function of the Golgi apparatus is processing and packaging the proteins and which is bind to lysosomes or other membrane bound organelles. What is lysosome? Lysosome is known as suicidal bag because they have hydrolytic enzymes. Hydrolytic enzymes are the proteases which is break down the protein, lipases which break down the lipids, and glycosides which break down the carbohydrates. So lysosome is formed by Golgi apparatus. The function of the lysosome is to break down of macromolecules. And in WBC it contains the enzymes which can digest the bacteria. There are two types of lysosomes, primary and secondary. Primary lysosomes are formed from Golgi apparatus and secondary is the fusion of primary lysosomes. What is peroxisomes? Peroxisomes play a key role in oxidative specific biomolecules. The function of the peroxisome is to detoxification of hydrogen peroxide by catalysis enzymes, and there is a breakdown of excess fatty acids. The enzymes involved in are catalase and oxidase. And centrioles which is situated near the nucleus, which is responsible for the movement of chromosome during cell division. And mitochondria which is known as powerhouse of the cell. It is a protection of energy. There is outer membrane and inner membrane and matrix. In outer membrane having smooth permeability and having various enzymes. Inner membrane forms many fold-like crystals. In inner membrane, through electron transport chain, gluconeogenesis takes place, and adenosine triphosphate synthesized through oxidative phosphorylation. And in mitochondria are the power generating units, which is called as powerhouse of the cell. And ribosomes is composed of RNA and different proteins. These are the site of protein synthesizers. They are bound freely in the cytoplasm and on the outer surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. Cytoskeleton, which is essential for all cellular movements. Microtubules which determine the shape of the cell, and intermediate which maintain the shape of the cell, and microfilament which is made up of actin and myosin responsible for contraction. In cell, nucleus acts as a brain of the cell. In nucleus there are the DNA will be present. So the DNA convert into mRNA through transcription and in ribosomes, and in ribosomes they synthesize proteins through translation